Hello. We were playing chicken then to see who was going to introduce the show.
Won.
So
I think I won.
You did. You absolutely won there. Which, we never always have a firm idea of where we're going to go with a particular show.
Why, did someone say we were meant to? I didn't get that memo.
But the fact that we both were very silent at the start, I'm thinking silence and holding your ground and waiting for the right moment might become
the
part
theme of the show.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's how it goes. So I'm Louisa, this is Carl, and we meet together every day, Monday to Friday at this time to talk with really amazing people and also to chat about all things that are about relaxation, feeling light, feeling good in ourselves.
And coming into the moment, as the name of the show suggests, which we've got a little logo somewhere, I think.
Where's that gone? Here it is.
Yes.
And today we have got Rev Treacy O Connor joining us. And she's part of the New Reality TV crew. You might have seen her at the recent, what was it? The Summit? The Rise Above Summit.
She's also a star of the Good Morning Portugal show. I like to have a daily conversation with Treacy. I'm not sure where and in what context we're meeting tomorrow, but actually, yes, Saturday and Sunday of last weekend, yesterday, and now this morning, Treacy.
This is pretty incredible. Let's bring her on now. Anyway.
All right. Round of applause.
Hey. How you doing?
That's going. Hey, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. And your backdrop is familiar to us as we saw when you were joining us with the Rise Above Summit. It was wonderful to find out more about your show, and I'd like to revisit that if we may. And your addition, your lovely addition to the New Reality TV lineup, because it's a great story as much as anything else, isn't it?
It's always a good story, and as we were exploring yesterday, is never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Right, absolutely. So how did you get to be involved in New Reality TV, Treacy?
Oh, well, that's a story in itself, Carl and Louisa. So our good friend Tom Evans. I've known Tom on Insight Timer as a meditation teacher, and I've been on Insight Timer since about 2018, and all of a sudden, back in October, they decided to boot me off as a teacher because I was reading poetry, crediting the author, and the legacy trust of that poet are really out for people who they're like searching. They're sending bots over the internet. They have to be to see who's using the work without their permission, and this one of these meditations that I'd done, starting with this poem in particular, was my most listened to meditation on the app with about 15,000 plays. And they got onto Insight Timer to say, this is going against our guideline. We haven't got permission, like as if I was making money from it, which is not the case. Yeah. And since I have had that experience, so I know friends of this poet who had passed, of this author, and the Legacy Trust are also going after them, and like they're all saying he'd be turning in his grave because he had beautiful expression of just the beauty of words. He knew how to make love with words, and it was John O'Donoghue. And an amazing author. So anyway, after doing live meditations every week, and I had a certain number of followers who really benefited from these meditations. I had no way of contacting them, of letting them know what happened. All of a sudden I just disappeared, but it was interesting because it's in a roundabout way, it caused me to look elsewhere and to kind of expand my horizons. Went on to Substack, and then Tom introduced me to Will and Karen on New Reality. We had a conversation. They were like, do you want to do a show? I'm like, okay. Not knowing, as you said in the beginning, not knowing where any of this is leading. I never really do. I just followed the guidance, follow the steps, and see where it leads to. And that's how I landed on New Reality TV. And it was literally, I got the message, you need to launch this. Your first episode needs to go out on St. Patrick's Day because it's called Celtic Soul. So that was a Monday, and the St. Patrick's Day was a Monday, and my first recording with a guest was on the Thursday before that. So it was literally like jump in the deep end and learn how to swim really quick. figuring everything out with the technology and the software and editing and all that kind of stuff. But it seems to have been, following that guidance. It feels really supported because I'm meeting people like you as well. It just feels like a lovely tribe, and I love the energy of the intention behind New Reality. It's very authentic. It's very real. As you say, the backdrop is the same. That's what it is. It's not about the bells and whistles and prettying everything up. It's just about delivering the information that people need. People need to hear. And I think the Celtic Soul has been the #1 watched show for the past 2 weeks, which is pretty amazing.
Well done. Yeah, congratulations.
Unbelievable. So it feels like there's a real hunger for that deeper meaning and that deeper connection with the land, with ourselves, with the ancestors, with creativity, whatever it is that comes as part of Celtic Soul. And I'm discovering that along the way as well, which is the beauty of it. I don't have all the answers. I'm asking all the questions, which is great. Yeah.
It's really the conduit to something that you mentioned there, which I think is the accessibility of the messages that come through I don't know what we'd call it, the Celtic medium, but well, that's another name for a show, isn't it? The Celtic medium.
That would be very good.
But what is it about Ireland and the Celtic history and spirituality that is timely or so appropriate and available to people right now?
It's a good question, and that's why I'm asking the questions every week to the guests that come on my show to try and discover what that might be. It feels like there's an ancient wisdom in the land that is yearning to be expressed now. It's kind of like this ancient tribe of the Tua de Danann, meaning the tribe of Mother Earth, the tribe of Danu, who ruled the land about 5,000 years ago or so. They would have been the ones associated with building the likes of Newgrange, the really powerful sacred sites. And it feels like they went underground at that time after, Ireland is a land of invasions.
Yes.
There seems to be always another tribe coming to Ireland. Like, it's a magnet for a lot of culture, a lot of different peoples. Apart from the Romans. Maybe we went there instead and said, no,
we did nothing for you.
Nothing to see over there.
Romans did nothing for Ireland. We can safely say that.
Okay. Exactly. But it feels like, so that energy of that mystical nature of that really beautiful feminine, and I mean, we, for such a small country, if you think about it, we have such an export of creativity over the years.
Yes.
It's just astounding, from poetry to music to art. It's just absolutely amazing. So I feel that those who are tapped into that sense of creativity, of living outside the box, of really being in connection with nature and that true heart nature, that's coming more and more alive now. And I think creativity has been oppressed for, very recent, much more recently it's been oppressed much more. And I feel we need creative solutions, particularly for the times that we're living in right now, to think outside the box and come back to the natural rhythms and cycles that are so important.
Very
That's
good.
my 2 cents. Don't know if that resonates.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for explaining that. This is my first time meeting you, and I want to get a sense of how you got on your path on the first place. Because I think we all have like an origin story, don't we? When all of a sudden we kind of start to shake off the yokes of our past, those things that are holding us in the narratives of modern man.
Well, I had a little bit of a preview of this. You didn't sit on the end of your bed wishing to be a reverend one day, did you, as a little girl?
No, I didn't.
What did you wish to be?
I'm certainly not. Well, I always had a yearning to be in communications of some sort when I was, in school. That felt very strong. And if you look at my birth chart, you'll see that, Louisa. And, when I left school, I remember my brother-in-law at the time said to me, you need to get out of Ireland. You'd do well to, just expand, because he knew how oppressed I was within my family unit, so to speak. And so I went to Paris at 17 and just packed my bags and said, okay, see us. and
What are
went
you
on.
like, both of you? Seriously, this is a familiar theme.
When I finished my A-levels, I was supposed to go to university, and I just woke up one day and said, I'm off to France. Goodbye.
No way.
Literally left the next day and then spent pretty much the next 5 years in France.
Wow. Whereabouts were you in France?
Well, all over, but I went to the Atlantic coast. Funnily enough, we're living on the Atlantic coast now in Portugal, but that's where I started my journey. And
That's amazing.
But like, it was all guided. But I want to hear about your journey, because I can talk about mine another day.
Well, I suppose mine was guided, but I wasn't aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware that it was guided. I thought it was all me, you know.
Well, 17 is quite a willful age, isn't it? You know, where we're trying to prove who we are.
So I ended up working in the European headquarters of the biggest ad agency in the world in Paris.
Wow. Which one?
BBDO.
17.
18. I did a bit of au pairing first.
Still.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I started in the French agency, and then the European headquarters moved to Paris. And so it was a very small team. So I was there for 7 years, you know, traveling the world. And really, this is a common thread that weaves through my life, is that I am a weaver and a connector. And so I would bring all the agencies together for a common purpose, because they were all very unique and individual, and there was no coherence really between the network. So that was my kind of job. And then the headquarters moved from Paris to London. So I was about 9 years away from Ireland altogether. And then I came back. And so the story of how I got into spirituality, coming back to your original question, sorry, it's a bit long-winded, the answer.
Don't worry.
When I came back, my family land had been sold. And the guy who bought the land decided that he wanted to buy a horse as well, even though he came from IT. And he had no idea of farming or horses or anything like that. And I met him at a party one night, and he said, do you want to come and ride the horse? I'm like, absolutely, because I was pretty much brought up riding horses as well. And I really missed that. And the poor horse, oh my God, he was so inflexible that I think it was about the fourth day that I was riding him. He literally tripped over himself and fell on top of me. So I was given a month off work. The injuries weren't too bad, to be honest. And I just had a month off sitting in the sun, and somebody gave me the Celestine Prophecy to read.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And that was pretty much the penny that dropped. The curiosity that wanted to explore. There's more to life than advertising. What? You know?
That's incredible, and that's quite some harsh animal communication there, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's got delivered in quite a.
I was literally being asked to come off my high horse.
Yes,
you know?
yes. Wow, how about that?
Oh my goodness!
And the Celestine Prophecy took you back to Notre Dame Cathedral as well, didn't it? Isn't that in the Celestine Prophecy? Or am I thinking of it?
I don't think so. You're thinking of Da Vinci Code, aren't you?
That's
completely different. Although it is an adventure.
It's a life-changing book for people, isn't it? For sure.
Yeah, Celestine is fluffier.
James Redfield.
James Redfield. And then so I bought the 11th Insight after that, and the Secret of Shambhala. I was just completely consumed by this. I was like, I need to know more. There's more. Like, wow, it was a real eye-opener. And really, I think that needed to happen, because I was so bloody stubborn. You know, this is my path. Even though I was, you know, on the brink of nervous breakdowns in work, I was taking on so much, and it was just like going against my soul completely. So because I wasn't listening, this had to happen. To get my attention, you know, and go, what the hell are you doing? You know, you need to go on another path. This is your path. And of course, I battled with that for another few years, made my life difficult. And so part of the fun of it, isn't it? Figuring it all out.
That's quite amazing. That journey. So when did you kind of cross over in earnest, or has that been a more?
I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry, no, I
I
didn't
am
mean it like
real.
that. I didn't mean that. Yes,
I'm
the
crossed
technology is
over,
good. There aren't any live trans-dimensional communications on New Reality yet, as far as I know. I meant I meant from the corporate 3D into
Oh.
your spiritual 5D, if I may refer to it as that.
Yes, excuse me. Well, I left the corporate world. It was all around my 30th birthday, actually.
Saturn return stuff,
Yeah. So I left my job, got with my daughter's father, and there was something else that came in threes. And I stepped out into project management for children's charities, completely opposite end of it. It's like, there's more to, they have to do something more meaningful and creative. And I've been pretty much doing it on my own ever since figuring that out. I had started, with the burnout in work. I had gone to a Reiki session for the first time and had a really powerful experience, got some really good clarity from that, around, you're not meant to be doing this job. Went to a couple of psychics and mediums, and they were all saying, you're not meant to be here.
Okay, I want another opinion. I need another opinion. This isn't clear enough yet. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's been quite the journey.
It sounds.
So that was about 2002. Yeah. Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And I think we acknowledged sort of listening and hearing messages and going with the flow. So that's what ultimately has happened, right? It sounds like you're better able or more willing to take the prompts now.
I've got myself out of the way.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's a really good way of putting it. Are you, or was that part of you becoming an interfaith minister as well? Because that's a very interesting, looking at it from a sort of CV external point of view, that's quite a significant moment in your life, presumably.
That was about 15 years later. And I had studied a lot of different modalities, in between. And there was just about that time, there was something more that was really calling me. And I didn't know what it was in terms of going deeper in spirituality. And I was on the phone to a friend who was already ordained as an interfaith minister, and another Irish guy. And he said, you should check this out. And I did. And there's quite a story to that whole journey as well. It was a 2-year seminary in London. At the time. We had to travel over every month. And the first year was immersed in ceremony. The first year was immersed at the time in faith paths. So every month we'd get to immerse ourselves in a different faith path and look at ourselves through the lenses of that faith path.
Oh, wow.
You wouldn't be used to. So you really see the shadow that you're not expecting. It's very, very beautiful course, I have to say. And then the second year was all about ceremony. So we got to write our own ceremonies of rites of passage through our life from birth to death.
Wow.
Very powerful work, very well held. I loved the container. Very beautiful organization. And actually after those 2 years and being ordained, I went on to be a trustee on the board of the Interfaith UK Foundation. And 2 years later, I was called to become a group tutor. So I did teaching of it of 2 years after that. And then I'm continuing to, kind of reflect on assignments for students and stuff like that. It's very, very deep, very powerful journey. I really, really found myself in it, I have to say. And I had no intention of becoming a reverend. We were saying yesterday, Carl, is like the most furthest thing off the end of the spectrum that I'd ever imagined being very irreverent when I was younger. But I was ready. I was maturing in myself, and that course definitely helped me to get out of my way more. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And just, listen.
To me, that sounds like it really is pulling together on all of your skills and helping you to become a community leader, and some guidance within the community, because like every community needs somebody who is like gel, the person that puts their big arms around the community and everyone can feel held by them.
True.
That's really important. Like you were bringing together all the different agencies in your previous lifetime.
All the experience as well. And I remember actually it was 2011 when I was really going through a period of dark night, and I was feeling very lost and didn't know what to do. And I set up a LinkedIn profile, and just reached out to my former colleagues around the world who asked for recommendations, and I literally couldn't believe what I was reading, and they were sending it back. I'm like, they're talking about me. I was so far lost in myself that I couldn't see that ability to bring people together. I'd forgotten the qualities, and I think when you get to that stage, and I think we've all gone through it, and everybody listening too, we forget who we are. So at such a profound level, that we can't see our light. We can only see the limited vision that we're capable of seeing. And it takes the tribe, it takes a community to lift us out of that. And that's the beauty for me of being that glue, of being, a holder of community. It's so important for what we're going through and what we're going to continue going through. As the world, I suppose, continues to try to keep us separated and divided and against each other, it's the energies of the likes of Bridget that bridge those divides, that bring the compassion and the understanding and the connection, and knowing that we are stronger together. It's not about being individual anymore. We're going from the I to the we, which is actually interesting when you put it in front of illness or wellness.
Oh, wow, I've never seen that before.
No, why hadn't we seen that before?
No, we should have done, shouldn't we? Yes.
I mean, you introduced me to St. Bridget.
Oh my God.
And Bridge It.
Yeah, Bridget.
Bridge is such an obvious thing as well, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Can you fill us all in on your Bridget connection? I know a little bit, but everyone else
I would like to squeeze into the remaining 9 minutes. One is, may I call on you, Treacy, to give us a little bit of a led ritual blessing space, take us into a higher place, you might say, or a more expanded place in the moment, because that's what we like to do, and I don't want to rush that. Want to say hello to everybody. And also want to acknowledge Bridget as well this morning. So if I say hi to Black Moon Jesus, yo people, good to wake up to you. That's lovely. Good to see you. And Deb's here as well.
Hey, Debs.
And Shine Your Light, who I think may be a friend of yours.
Is Shine Your Light someone that you know?
I think maybe a friend
Treacy.
of Tracy's there. Light-hearted souls, you say, all brothers and sisters as well. That's great, isn't it? We're all arising, finding ourselves again, as well as each and every unique individual souls, rising to our true selves. Greetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
T-Duck's here as well.
Hi, T-Duck.
Who knew the church in which St. Bridget's skull is enshrined and revered in Lisbon, of all places. So that was
just down the road from us.
It's incredible. And that's why you were on the Good Morning Portugal show yesterday. We'll catch up with you later, Shine Your Light. Thank you very much for being here. And Deb, I get the I need to know more. And good old 30 years of Saturn returns there.
Yeah.
And there's Treacy, says Deb as well. Good to see you here. Such a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
Talking of Ireland, it's not a small thing to come back from that kind of hardship. It is an incredible history, isn't it, Ireland? It really is extraordinary what Ireland has gone through, is going through. And I think what you're pointing to, Treacy, you're making no secret of the fact that we are in a period of change, as it's scrolling across the screen there. We are on new reality TV together. You were in the middle of something, are we, as far as you're concerned, on a collective and human level?
No, I mean, you can see it. All you have to do is turn on social media and go, what reality am I actually in? Like, is this real? It's so out there. And I think it's so out there because it's really getting our attention, just like what happened in 2020, is getting our attention to live from a different place, come into our hearts. Because it's so obvious, I think, what's being put out there. It's all from here. Are you getting it yet?
That's our best clip so far today, isn't it? Are you getting it yet? Okay.
Yeah. It does really feel like a repeat of whatever was going on 4 years ago.
Doesn't it? We're back in that.
Or is it 5 years ago now? I don't even know.
5 years.
They just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, don't they?
We are. It feels so much like that to me.
Yeah.
As in, what now?
I was writing to another, by the way, beautiful Irish friend just moments before coming on, and saying it feels like we're having a rerun or part 2, or that was the warm up for what's going on now. It just feels like this. Like we were all called to develop certain skills. I know we've been developing skills over the last 4 years. We've really we've learned to sit with discomfort. We've learned to sit with, like worries, all sorts of worries. Because, people were censoring each other left, right, and center, and calling each other out and separating and falling apart. And we've got quite a lot of practice in being comfortable with the uncomfortable, and maybe that's what we need to be able to do now.
Yes,
I don't know.
That differentiation of the head and the heart.
Yeah.
The heart being with things, and the head thinking about things. That's I really got a message around that in these last couple of days. It's like, be with and react to what is, not what you think is going on. And because it's unending, isn't it? There are infinite spirals of what you think might be going on, and to come back to what actually is in your environment is perhaps the realest thing you can address. And on that note, Treacy, again, I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to put you under any pressure, but it is your job.
I think Treacy can work under pressure quite well. I think you're pretty good at that.
We've got about 4.5 minutes in which to just be, if you'd be happy to guide us in that.
Actually, it's more like 3.
All right, okay, all right. No pressure.
No pressure, but pressure makes the diamond, right? And
yes.
Yeah, you were saying, the ability to be and not do. We're human beings. We have to remember that first. We're not human doings. We had become that. So let's close our eyes and just be present with what is in our minds right now. The echoes of the conversation that are still rippling out. Just being aware of that, and then just shifting that internal camera lens to your breath, to the sensations. As you breathe in and breathe out, just noticing the temperature hit the back of your throat, the cold, the cooler air, filling your lungs. And bring that curiosity as you're breathing out to the temperature of the air at the edge of your nostrils. It's different. Coming back to our senses. Shifting that lens, bringing our awareness to where we're sitting on the seat, the warmth of connection, and just bringing the curiosity again to the edge of your seat, to where your legs extend beyond the seat. There's a difference in sensation. And then down to your feet, noticing how your feet are resting. Noticing the connection points. And we bring our energy and our awareness from our head down to our feet. We ground ourselves more into our bodies. We're more present here and now in our senses, and nothing else exists right now but this moment. So just being in this moment, just breathing. Being with our bodies. And of course, thoughts are going to come in. Just notice that, but don't become them. Don't allow that train of thought to carry you away on a track of unknown destination. Just be the driver of your own train, standing in the station, just breathing, to be in control of this moment.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We can just idle like that with the great locomotive metaphor, and we don't have to come out of that, do we? We can be in that simultaneously with what's being said and thought again.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to be sitting cross-legged on top of a mountain, though that'd be nice, but it's not realistic.
Yeah, that's right. That's not our reality right now. We're here, aren't we, in the middle of things. Yes, Deb, Treacy holds a beautiful space to land. I loved her meditations during the summit.
Please excuse me.
A nest in the earth to help remind us of our connection. And we'll say thank you to you, Treacy, on that note. And we'll see you. We'll wish you all a lovely weekend. And don't forget to catch Celtic Soul with Treacy on New Reality TV. Thanks, Treacy. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Wonderful
Thanks
weekend.
So much for having me.
Bye for now.